Hey everyone, we have a serious energy crisis happening in the United States. This is a huge deal that we have a lot less refining capability than we had in previous years. We'll get into that shortly. We also now have another explosion at a processing plant. We're going to get into that as well. Let's jump right into that. That's a big news story coming out of Texas. We have a small explosion, as they're saying it, that has happened at the Fremont terminal in Texas. It is a natural gas terminal where natural gas is then pumped onto tankers that are, special tankers that carry liquid natural gas across over to other countries, and recently, particularly to Europe, so that they don't have to import Russian natural gas. So a lot of natural gas has been going to Europe recently. 16% of the United States exports of natural gas go through this one terminal. And this one terminal, with this small explosion, has just shut down. Now, we are receiving an update here, and that is saying that they are now expecting the terminal to be shut down for at least 3 weeks. That's a lot of gas. 2 billion cubic feet per day of natural gas over 3 weeks at minimum. And of course, in these type of times, it's hard to find workers. It's hard to find equipment that you need and supplies. Are they going to be able to find all the things and components they need and get them on site? Well, if you're thinking that there is an emergency declaration from the President of the United States to get all available necessities prioritized to the natural gas. In fact, if a supplier has something that natural gas terminal needs, and yet a solar panel manufacturing facility asks for that materials, they are obligated by law not to give it to the natural gas terminal, but to give it to the solar panel manufacturer, because that's the state of emergency. Your diesel, your natural gas, your gasoline, not a crisis. The cost of solar panels, that is a crisis, according to this administration. Folks, they are literally making things worse as best they can. It's, we keep saying out there that this is not just a series of accidents. This is nefarious. Now, it may be a series of random events that are happening, but the thing is that how the government is responding to all these things is showing that that they want high diesel prices. They want high gasoline prices, so you have to buy those electric cars. Just not from Elon Musk, because, he's out of favor. There's this whole push to buy electric cars and to stop using gasoline, stop using diesel. We're just going to pretend like it doesn't take diesel to get all that lithium out of the ground. We're going to pretend like it doesn't take slave labor to get all that cobalt out of the ground. We're going to pretend like all of these resources, there's enough of them for us to make electric cars for everyone in the United States and electric cars for everyone around the world. That's why we are not replacing refining capability that is being lost in the United States, and we have some serious losses in refineries. So, this terminal, ironically, it's actually kind of good news for consumers in the United States, because all that natural gas can't go overseas. So that means it's available for the U.S. market, which means the price of natural gas in the United States is going down significantly. But it means the price of natural gas in Europe is going up significantly. So if you're in Europe, this is bad news for you. If you're in the United States, in the short term, it's good news, but like most things, this would come back and bite everyone in the butt, because that means less money available for investment. I mean, we want to export things as a country, right? So for the United States, not being able to export stuff and being forced to import more stuff is actually bad for the economy. So massive implications there. U.S. supplies are up so that is kind of good. But we are hearing that this outage is going to be for at least 3 weeks. Word out there is that even though OPEC that's the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, right? The cartel for oil out there, they upped their exports of oil by 600,000 barrels per day. And people are like, well, that's not enough, but that's nice. Well, now word is coming out from the energy minister of the UAE, United Arab Emirates, that actually OPEC is actually producing 2.6 million barrels per day less than what their target is. So they raised the target of how much oil they'd like to export without actually increasing the amount of oil that they actually are exporting. So we have an oil crisis across the planet, and everyone gets relieved that they're going to hope to export more oil, but they're not actually exporting more oil. And that should tell you all you need to know about the global markets today. They're all just like smoke and mirrors, and just it's a pile of stinking lies. That's what the stock market in the United States and a lot of other countries are. That's what the bond market is. That's what all this funny money, all these lies just piled up. If you're in the markets, you need to realize what you're involved with, because these companies, most of them are way overvalued. They're projecting having, wonderful money-making investments for the next 20 years, and that's all priced into their market cap. Amazon is priced like it's going to have the sales that it has today for like 20-some years with no downturns. It's amazing because that they can see this far into the future that there's not going to be a problem ever, forever, and that's how much you're paying for it. So be aware of what you're putting your money into, especially with these commodities markets. If you're buying silver and gold, you've probably been aware of the market manipulations that the big banks are pressing the price of silver and gold down in order to keep their paper trading and all their little schemes afloat. And they're backed up by the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve needs to keep silver and gold down. But when it comes to natural gas, oil, these things are manipulated as well. Just because somebody says that they'd like to export more oil doesn't mean that should affect the price of oil. Hopefully, you'd actually look at the truth, can they export the oil or can't they? And that's assuming that Iran never closes the Gulf of the Hormuz Strait, right? We'll just hope that they never close that. Also, word is out there. He's also saying, the energy minister of the UAE is saying that they're expecting dramatically increased oil purchases from China now that the cough lockdowns, or whatever those lockdowns were, now that those are opening back up, they're going to be consuming a lot more oil again. And where are they going to buy all that oil? They're going to have to buy it off the open market, which is going to drive prices even higher. They're projecting, we're currently at $120 per barrel of oil. They're projecting $140 to $160 per barrel in the very, very near future, folks, because with the Chinese coming back online, purchases, and as well as it looks like the OPEC countries are basically tapped out. They are exporting as much oil as they can. And the United States isn't drilling. Europe isn't drilling. Nobody's doing exploration right now because we're all going to become solar-paneled, solar-powered electric car owners in the near future, if they can mine enough lithium. But just to give you an idea here, we had the U.S. refining capability from 2014 to today, we have dropped significantly the amount of refining capability. Currently, we have 17.95 million barrels per day capacity in our refineries, okay? That is like sorry, that's what I was trying to say, was back in 2014, we had about 18 million barrels per day capacity of refinery capacity. And today we have about that same amount. We increased our refining capability, but it's been dropping rapidly. And by the end of 2023, we're looking at losing another million barrels per day refining capability by the end of next year. Now, we've already been talking about this one refinery that's going to close down for 200,000 barrels per day, but we haven't talked about the other 800,000 barrels per day refining capability that's going to be lost in the next year and a half. Folks, you know, we talk about all these manufacturing jobs, we talk about all these factories moving overseas, but right now what's happening is that all of our refining capability is now moving overseas because it is impossible to get permits to build a refinery in the United States anymore. It's impossible. It can't be done. It's like there's not even a remote chance of getting a refinery built in the United States. So where are we building all these refineries? Where's the future refineries going to come from? They're all being built in the Middle East. So I know a lot of you out there were like, this is so great. We're becoming energy independent. We don't have to fight wars in the Middle East anymore. This is fantastic. And then some people think it's a great idea to make it impossible to build refineries here, so the refineries get built in the Middle East, so we're once again dependent upon the Middle East. We're going to have to literally pump the oil out of the ground in the United States, ship it all the way over to the Middle East, get it refined, and then ship it back. Apparently, environmentalists think this is a great plan. Why is it that all these green solutions always do the direct opposite of everything they're trying to accomplish? They moved all green in the direction of green, shutting down all these nuclear power plants, and CO2 emissions are actually up because we're burning more coal and we're burning more natural gas in order to balance out the grid with all these electric solar panels and the electric windmills. If we just kept the base load that we had, it would have actually been better on the CO2 thing. It's all just shell games and lies. It's shadows and lies. That's what it is. So folks, take this to heart, that we have serious issues happening in the diesel market. We have serious issues happening in the gasoline market. We have serious issues happening in the electric grid in the United States. But this isn't just the United States that's having these issues. Canada is having the same issues, and Europe is having the same issues. In some ways, they're actually having worse issues on some of these things. Folks, you need to be thinking about how you're going to get by without electricity. You need to be thinking about how you're going to get by without gasoline or diesel. You need to take positive steps as best you can. All right, there's another video here you might want to check out. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar, out.